Okay, so for those of you who aren't familiar with the Sound of Freedom, what we're talking about, because yesterday I realized there were a lot of people who were not familiar with this movie. In fact, I myself really wasn't familiar with it. So here is the Sound of Freedom trailer.
How many pedophiles you got?
288.
How many kids you found?
It is the fastest growing international crime network that the world has ever seen. It has already passed the illegal arms trade, and soon it's gonna pass the drug trade. Because you can sell a bag of cocaine one time to a child 5 to 10 times a day. God's children are not for sale.
Yeah, man. So yeah, you're talking about you can sell a child 5 to 10 times a day. He's talking about turning tricks, right? At first, when I first heard this in the trailer, I, for some reason, thought it was talking about just selling the kid, like one person sells the kid to another person. But what you realize is that these children are being prostituted. These children are being treated no differently than, grown adult prostitutes who are working for a pimp. But of course, you have situations like that where those women are also being forced to work against their will. But in every instance where it's a child, where it's a minor, for a fact they're being forced to work against their will. And 99 out of 100 times they were kidnapped from their families. So, it's real crazy, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's a long movie. Just be aware of that. But it is super intense, super dark. And really eye-opening. If you have kids, you're going to be worried about your kids as you're watching the movie. You're going to be wondering, I hope somebody didn't break into my house and take my children. Makes you really, think about safety and where you're allowing your children to go and who you're allowing your children to be around.
How long you been doing this?
12 years now.
How many pedophiles you got?
288.
How many kids you found?
Timoteo, tú rescatas niños, ¿verdad? ¿Puedes ayudarme a encontrar a mi hermana?
Te lo prometo.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the cinematography was great. The acting was good. The lead actor did a great job. And it felt very real. And the craziest part is at the end of the movie, they show you actual footage so all of this is based on a true story. But a lot of times when movies say they're based on a true story, they mean this is incredibly loosely based on a true story. But this one, they actually have footage of the real American government agent who is going on these search and rescue missions. He has actual footage of these raids, and it's incredible. He's truly doing God's work, because I grew up in Jamaica, which is a third world country, if we're just gonna call it a spade. However, kidnappings are a very real thing in Jamaica, right? Growing up, every night on the 7 o'clock news, there would always be a segment where they would just put up pictures of children that went missing that day. I already have this going into the movie. The movie wasn't as jarring, it wasn't as shocking to me as I believe it would be for maybe someone who grew up in America, especially someone who grew up in a relatively safe environment or culture. If you grew up in suburban America, right? In Jamaica, here's something crazy that happened, right? Back when I was living in Jamaica as a kid, we knew somebody. I don't want to get into details. I probably should, because it was really dark. But let's just say, I know of people who have been kidnapped, women who have been kidnapped, and then their bodies are found burnt. That was just a reality. I remember there being stories of this little girl going missing, and then they find her body, cut up into bits, like different, like dismembered in different locations. That was just a reality. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, and I've even had things happen pretty close to home, right? When I was about 15, 16, gunmen broke into my house. You know, I was living in America at this point in time. I had just moved to America, came back to Jamaica for Christmas, and several armed gunmen broke into our house, tied us up, robbed us. You know, thank God they didn't hurt anybody. But, you know, that stuff is real. And I didn't live in a particularly hood part of Kingston. You know what I mean? It was just a reality. So yeah, like I'm talking about, they put a pillow over my head. You know what I'm saying? Like laid face down in the bed. Bro, it was crazy.